is about it's about data. Our topic today is your customers' data protected? We know that tourism industry been impacted by the pandemic since last year. Again, we want to reset, we want to make sure that all are taken care, we are preparing for the future, and we are preparing for when the border is open. We hope that the border will be open soon, especially due to the domestic market. So before we open for business, let us put our house in order. Kita lihat stock taking kat office kita, syarikat-syarikat kita, bagaimana kita mempersediakan diri kita ya. Antaranya data. Do you know that data is very important? Every day the data processing, data mining is being involved. For example, if you have a Netflix account, example, Netflix account, you like to watch certain movies, you suka tengok cerita certain movies, then the system will analyze, it will definitely will identify you a person who likes this type of movies. So what happened is the system they process the data, they mine the data, they identify you are a person of contoh suka Bollywood lah, love the Bollywood movie. So the system will definitely recommend you the Bollywood movie. So in this case, data is fantastic, it's very important. Very important for business, very important for organization, and very important not only big companies but for small companies. That's why today our topic is we want to focus, we want to analyze, we want to hear this important topic. How can we protect our customers' data? Data is a new currency, and as you know that in today's data-driven world, data breaches can affect everywhere. Hundreds of millions or even billions of people at one time. We have seen the owner of Facebook have been facing a lot of charges due to data breach. And digital transformation has been increased, the supplying of the data moving. Data breaches have been scaled up with these attackers, with these exploiters, the data dependency of our daily life. So it's very important for us to make sure that we protect our customers' data. Therefore, today's our topic coincide with our topics. We are so happy and we are so pleased to have our special guest of honor. Special guest. He is from the departments of personal data protection. And I would like to read. Saya ingin membaca profil beliau sedikit sebanyak, panjang profil, tapi saya akan ringkas. Jadi tetamu khas pada hari ini mempunyai 29 tahun pengalaman bekerja berkhidmat dengan pelbagai kementerian kerajaan dan merupakan ahli yang terlibat secara aktif dalam organisasi antarabangsa seperti International Communication Union (ITU), Asia Pacific Telecommunity (APT), dan selain itu beliau juga telah terlibat secara langsung dalam inisiatif oleh kerajaan Malaysia sebagai pengarah projek Malaysian Emergency Response Services 999, MERS 999. It's very important initiative dari tahun 2008 hingga ke 2016. Dan juga beliau terlibat dalam pengubahan Akta Pelindungan Data Peribadi 2019. This is where we want to discuss today. We want to hear, we want to make sure that we understand better on this data. Dan juga beliau berpenggunaan juga in charge of pembangunan ICT luar bandar dan perkara-perkara yang berkaitan. Dan beliau juga pernah menjadi pengurusi ASEAN Japan for Information Policy Meeting pada tahun 2013, perunding dalam Malaysia Australia FTA Trans-Pacific Partnerships in Telecommunication and E-commerce Chapter dan Malaysian European Union Free Trade Agreement. Jadi beliau mempunyai pengalaman yang luas dan beliau adalah Ketua Pengarah Jabatan Pelindungan Data Peribadi. Jadi saya ingin menjemput Tuan Mas Malik Muhammad. Beliau akan bercerita, akan kongsi pendapat ataupun poin-poin yang penting untuk kita di industri pelancongan. Jadi sebelum tu saya ingin juga mengucapkan jutaan terima kasih pada pihak MPC yang sentiasa membantu kami di industri pelancongan untuk kita upskill, untuk kita mendapatkan ilmu-ilmu yang penting semasa pandemik ini. Jadi dengan tidak membuang masa, saya ingin menjemput Tuan Mas Malik. Assalamualaikum Tuan.
Waalaikumsalam Cik Zaidi, terima kasih banyak atas your kind remarks, and of course Puan Zarina from MPC for inviting us to participate in your, we call it webinar.
Yes.
So once again, thank you very much, and I want to share a few. I only mentioned about, because I nearly have around 1 hour, so maybe I want to share important elements of PDPA. Because when I talk to Mr. Uzaidi, just to get some overview about the competency of this operator. So most of them, I think this is the first time they are attending PDPA courses, and compared to their counterpart from hotels, from travel agents, they are part of my my member, because they have to contribute. They have to be a member in PDPA. They have to pay fee and be part of the member. So I think I have a lot of slides, because to the start I will give it to the secretariat, to MPC, and of course you can distribute it to the members lah, just for their knowledge. Okay, next.
Puan Nik Zarina, saya nak share slide.
Boleh share.
Siapa yang akan share slide tu?
Saya, Mazlina.
My officer, Mazlina.
Sekejap ya.
Jadi tuan-tuan yang sementara menunggu ni,
Okay, for timing lah, when you talk about PDPA, I think the most important thing is when you collect data, okay, whether you are individuals, whether you are companies, okay, even though you are individuals, for instance, you are a Facebook who selling goods, selling services through Facebook, you are collecting your client personal data, you have to comply to PDPA. In this case, even though you have companies, you are dealing with maybe we call it hospitality sectors, yeah, you run as a, we call it homestays operator, okay, you also have to comply with PDPA lah. I will tell you lah, okay, how you manage your client personal data, because it is something that very important now. Like Zaidi said, that personal data is a new currency. People always say that data is a new fuel. Okay, the value of Facebook become higher and higher every day, because not because of the apps, because of every day their subscribers keep increasing every day. Okay, we are talking about 2.4 billion now. Same like WhatsApp, same like Instagram and so forth. I will talk to you later. Okay, ada. Okay.
Tuan Mas Malik, kita ada di sini, kita mempunyai berbagai background. Ada yang daripada homestay, daripada travel agents.
Okay.
Dan kami juga ada Captain Mushafiz daripada Malindo, Chief Executive Officer daripada Malindo Airlines. Terima kasih Captain.
I know Captain. How are you, Captain?
Alhamdulillah, Tuan Mas Malik, Tuan Zaidi. As I mentioned, kita dah ada one day briefing by Tuan Mas Malik and team as part of our qualification.
Because we give special treatment to Malindo.
Kita dah ada all top management, dah ada good briefing by Tuan Mas Malik and team. Very educative. Okay. Memang
so
bagus.
I hope
so
your
thank you very
airline
much.
I hope your airline will operate as usual, Captain.
Thank you. And this will be my refresher course lah, Tuan Mas Malik.
Okay, good. Okay, I think because we have to wait for slideshow, because just I want to give you an overview of PDPA. Okay, when you talk about PDPA, you must understand PDPA only concerned on commercial transactions. Okay, compared to other PDPA in Europe, in other countries, they also covered non-commercial. The uniqueness of Malaysia is we only concern on commercial. In other words, PDPA only concern when a data user collecting personal data, commercial transaction, then
bagi saya
have to comply for PDPA. That's why now we have a lot of complaints come to us. Okay, we have a lot of complaints come to us to say that, okay, how my mother-in-law get my phone number, contoh. Okay, they complain to us. Phone number is a personal data, but the relationship between mother-in-law and son-in-law is nothing to do with commercial. So that's why we cannot take the complaint to process it under PDPA. Yeah, this is the thing that all of you must understand. Okay, one unique about our law is we only focusing on commercial transaction. Okay, next. Okay, when you talk about data, okay, we're talking about Malaysian personal data. Who own Malaysian personal data? Of course, government. Okay, government collect tons of data. Okay, now MasSejahtera, they're talking about 28 million data. Okay, immigration, Jabatan Pendaftaran, they're collecting a lot of data. Okay, and one thing about, I have to tell you, in PDPA, government not apply. Okay, in other words, we cannot impose PDPA to the government. When I talk government, they consist about federal government and state government. Only these two levels of government have been accepted from PDPA. But we're talking about local authority, statutory bodies, they have to comply 100% of PDPA. For instance, like PBT, DBKL, Maji Bandaran Subang, they have to comply 100% of PDPA. There is no exemptions. Second, we're talking about all the giants, social media giants, Google, Facebook, they collect millions of data. Okay, I will show you the figures. And then of course the third level, the data users, those collecting data for the sake of for you to do banking, telcos, and insurance. Next. So if you look today, this just okay, just a glance lah, okay? How social media dominate the world. Facebook, there are 2.6 billion Facebook account holder. Okay, that's why people always use Facebook platform to promote their products. You dealing with hospitality sector, always use a lot of Facebook platform to promote your products. Second, YouTube, how you promote your product to YouTube, okay? Same like WhatsApp, Facebook, and Messenger. Just by looking at this figure, you know how these, we call it social media giants, dominate all the data, okay? So it's quite difficult to manage them. People always mention, okay, can we regulate Facebook? The answer is quite difficult. Because I mentioned earlier, Facebook are located outside of Malaysia. Their servers are located in Iceland. And because of our PDPA only comply to Malaysian territory. We don't extraterritorial where we can impose our law to other country outside of Malaysia. We don't have this kind of law in Malaysia. Okay, you can ask questions if you don't understand. Okay, next. Okay, I just mentioned about million. This is a Malaysian scenarios. Okay, we have around 24.6 million social media accounts, and then 98%, 97.3% have a Facebook account. 57% have Instagrams. We have 28.7 million internet users. Okay, just I want to show you how dominant this platform, and most of our communication among Malaysians are using internet. That means are using handphone and so forth lah. And then 96.5% are communicating through texting. Okay, in other words, they are using data. Okay, people Malaysia now communication less using phones. Okay, we don't use voice anymore. people like to text, okay, through WhatsApp and so forth. And another one, we're talking about access from the mobile phone. 93%, okay? People access internet through mobile phone. And I just want to share you findings from MCMC, okay? Personal data that shared online, okay? Most of the personal data that can share online is photo, okay? Nearly 70% of Malaysians like to share their photo online. So you jangan risau lah, because every day people keep changing their profile photo in WhatsApp, okay? And date of birth, we're talking about 58%. And then name, phone number and so forth lah. So in other words, you look at the Malaysian trend now, okay? Most of our personal data are being shared through online, okay? Just these few slides to show you how the trends among Malaysians, okay? People are shifting from manual to digital data, okay? People are shifting from manual form to digital form. People are shifting from doing business manual through online and so forth, okay? If you have any question, you can ask, huh? Okay, next. Okay, when you're talking about billions of endpoints, okay, people are talking about privacy, okay? It's quite difficult to have absolute privacy in Malaysia because wherever you go, okay, people, all the device, all these systems are collecting your personal data, okay? When you go to supermarket, we go to immigrations, you have to face this kind of facial recognitions, voice recognitions, DNA, iris, we talk about eyes, fingerprint, and so forth. Where you are, okay? By GPS, I can track where you go, okay? We're talking about self tracking, license plate readers, face recognitions, okay? It's quite difficult now. They want to introduce geofencing, okay? Like MKN want to introduce geofencing. If you are being quarantined in your house, make sure you don't go outside because they can monitor you whether you stay in the house or not by having your IP, your phone number, by having your GPS. So it's quite difficult for you to go outside. So what you do? Okay, we have smartwatch. They can measure your heartbeat. Okay, they can measure your blood pressure and so forth. And then lastly, what you think? Even the search engine, your social network can help you, okay, to think on behalf of you. For instance, if you are using Facebook, if you like sports, okay, they can show you a few things about sports. Okay. Is there any question? You can stop me, because I have not in. I ada 1 jam lebih aja. Okay, next. Next. So you must understand when you talk about why you must protect your personal data as a data user. Okay, I call it data user because you are processing your client personal data. We call it data user. In Europe, they are called data controller. It's the same. Okay. I like to highlight issues number 4. Okay. There is a study by Global Commission on Internet Governance in 2016. Okay. They say that 40% of respondents say that they would never gain doing business with a company that suffered from the data breach. So in other words, you will have to ensure your client's personal data, you have to manage it carefully. Okay. If somebody found out that your company already do the data breach, you have some difficulties to get their trust in dealing with your business. Okay. 1, 2, and 3, and 5, the one is common one. But as a businessman, as a business woman, you have to take care of your client personal data because especially when you are dealing with hospitality sectors, dealing with banking, dealing with hospitals, where they are very concerned about the personal data because people say that personal data relate to dignity of a person. Okay. So if you cannot take care of my data, I will go to somewhere else to do the business. Okay, next. Okay, when you talk about data protections, okay. When you talk about data protections, this is about just to ensure that, okay, your data must be used carefully, okay? Because the term protection means that from the day I collect my data, your client personal data, means that I have to give my consent, I have to collect enough data until where you delete my data. This is about to ensure that the data must be unauthorized access from or misuse or loss, okay? That's why we must very concerned about data protection. Second, why it matters? Because if the person data is stolen, okay, so don't talk about privacy anymore. Okay, somebody already stole your data, and even worse, somebody stole data and sell it to the other party. Okay, so how you can avoid this is by have a personal data governance. This is some scenarios how to protect your client personal data lah. When I talk clients, it also include your staff personal data also. Okay, next. Okay, how important data protection in digital economy? Okay, today we're talking about digital economy. Okay, by the year 2025, our ambition is about 30% of our GDP come from digital economy. Of course, when you talk about digital economy, we are talking about e-commerce. We're talking about doing business online. So one of the major or important component of e-business or e-commerce is more on data protections. Okay, so we have to ensure that when we're dealing with all the digital economy, especially when you're dealing with booking online, when you use your service providers, okay, you have to ensure that your client personal data have been protected. Okay, next. Okay, this is just for your information now. Okay, non-applicability PDPA 2010. In PDPA not apply to federal and state government. That one is clear. That's why I always been questioned whether the data from MySejahtera is safe or not. So it's quite difficult for me to answer because MySejahtera is managed by Ministry of Health and National Security Council. So they have been not applied to PDPA. Second, we're talking about personal, family, household affairs, like I mentioned just now. We're talking about particulars, personal data about personal family and family. That one also be excluded from PDPA. Data processed outside of Malaysia. Okay, if the Facebook keep your data outside, if somebody keep your data outside of Malaysia, that's why it's quite difficult for me as a regulator to take actions. So I've been excluded also from PDPA. And then we're talking about non-commercial transactions. Okay, if somebody use your personal data, nothing to do with commercial, also not be excluded. And lastly, we're talking about credit reporting agency. Credit reporting agency, as you know, that they are governed by Credit Reporting Agency Act. Okay, their regulator is Ministry of Finance. Okay, okay. This is the 5 component been excluded from PDPA 2010. Okay, next. Okay, how the PDPA improve the data governance? Okay, you must understand data have a life cycle. Start you collect, okay, start you process until you delete, until you wipe out my personal data from your PC. They have a life cycles. So every life cycle you have to spell out the duties. For instance, if I have to collect my personal data, want to collect it from using the form, okay? You want to collect it manually or you want to collect it digitally. So you have to come up with your form and to ensure that I already agree. Okay, this is we're talking about consent. And then every data management standards, we have come up with standards. And then from the cycle, we can identify any risk. Okay. For instance, if you store your personal data in the cabinet, and you put in the book, you put in the file, is there any risk when you put inside in the cupboard, inside the cabinet? This is the thing that you have to identify. Of course, to improve security measures. Okay. For security, for instance, like sensitive data, okay, you have to enhance your security measures. And lastly, of course, you have to promote data integrity lah. Is to ensure that the data that you keep, the data you process is up-to-date data lah, not old data. This is the 5, we call it, how the PDPA can improve the data governance lah. Okay, next. Okay, there are only 3 parties in PDPA, data users, data subject, and data processor. Data users is you, okay? You are the owner of the company, you are the owner of the tour, we call it tour agency, you are the owner of the, we call it hotels, okay? Budget hotel and so forth. You are the owner, okay? Because you have direct involvement in collecting, processing, all your client personal data. Second, data subject. Okay, data subject is your client personal data. And then of course, data processor. Data processor is if you appoint a third party to process your client personal data on behalf of you, that one is a data processor. Okay, if any company don't have any data processor, they only have between data user and data subject. Okay, but now we're talking about cloud, using cloud as a data processor, okay, because of cheap, because of they can have a very good security measures, so they are using third party as a data processor. Okay, so only 3 parties, only 3 major actor in PDPA: data user, data subject, and data processor. Okay, next. Okay, we're talking about commercial transaction. I mentioned you just now. PDPA only concerned on commercial transactions. Okay, when you talk about commercial, I think that one is very clear. Anything related to money and dollar and cent, ringgit and cent, investment, trading, banking, insurance services. Okay, it's clear. Okay, next. Okay, when you're talking about processing, you must also understand, okay, all the activities under processing under the law. Okay, when you refer PDPA, processing means start you collecting, alteration, holding, storing, until you destruct the data. All the activities, okay, all the activities here, they are being deemed to be a processing of personal data. So if somebody say that I'm not processing, I just collecting, even though you are only collecting, you are not processing, you also have to comply to PDPA. Okay. I'm not doing anything about the data, I just storing, but still you have to comply to PDPA. Because the processing term is quite wide. It consists all the major activities in data lifecycle. Okay, next. Okay, I think you know lah, what we call it personal data. Okay, start from employee information until your customer information lah. Okay. That's why I think I have to mention this, because try to avoid collecting sensitive data lah. Okay. Because when you talk about sensitive data, you have to be extra careful. Because I mentioned earlier that we are talking about sensitive data. Because treatment of sensitive data and general data is quite different. Sensitive data you need more careful. You have to be more secure when handling about sensitive data. For instance, you are collecting about my medical records. I ni allergy apa ke, I makan ubat apa ke, whether I have high blood, all these things. I'm not sure about hospitality sector lah, but normally we are not encouraging lah by collecting this kind of data lah. Okay, because it's quite difficult to manage them. You see, because you cannot combine the personal data to the general data. they must be separated. Okay, religion, health, political opinion, criminal record. This is examples of sensitive personal data in the PDPA. Okay, you tak collect kan sensitive data? Ada collect ke? I don't think you collect sensitive data. Are you collect?
Sensitive data means, of course, because we have to make a reservation with the hotels, with the airlines, Tuan. So I mean, we have to collect the basic lah, the name and the IC
means that means only for food lah.
Bukan. For example, if you want to make reservation to the hotel, you need to have all these basic name, Tuan.
That one is okay. No, I'm talking about sensitive data.
Sensitive data means
health, political opinion.
Oh, tak ada. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Tak ada, Tuan.
That's why I'm very worried. You say
yeah, no, tak ada. Tak ada, Tuan.
That personal data is okay.
Okay, alright.
Okay. I'm concerned is in your form, you mentioned that you makan ubat apa, you sakit apa.
Okay. Alright.
That one I think better don't put lah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. I don't think so. I don't think so. There's nothing.
That one only for COVID lah.
Yeah.
For that one not for hotel reservation lah.
Yes, betul, Tuan.
Okay. That's why some sectors, for instance, like medical, even like insurance, they are collecting sensitive data based on their requirements. But if your sector don't require any sensitive data to be collected, jangan kata-kata minta lah. Because the difference is you have to ensure sensitive data, you have to be more careful. If I know what medicine you take, I know what disease you have. Is it?
Tuan, kalau katakan for example sports tourism, so we organize a sports event, of course you have to have declarations on the health and everything. Is it that one is considered as sensitive personal data?
That one is sensitive data. For instance, you want to have a sport event. Suddenly I declare I have heart attack. If somebody scan the information from my handphone, from your handphone, and then they viral it, they know that Mas Malik have a heart attack. Malu I.
Oh, okay, alright, okay. It's sensitive data, that's right, alright.
We're talking about one is you're talking about dignity. Second, you're talking about image.
Yeah.
Because that's why politicians are afraid that the politicians are afraid of this sensitive data.
Yeah, okay, alright.
If I know that politicians have this kind of disease, I viral it, I will there.
Betul kan.
This is the thing that if your sector don't need a sensitive data, please don't collect lah. Sometimes people like to collect for the sake of collecting.
Yeah.
Because they like to have more data. But when we ask them why you need the data, they cannot answer. People tend to collect more data.
For example, Tuan, kalau katakan employer want to interview, of course, there's some declaration on the health and declaration on the do you have any criminal records? It is considered.
There are two things lah,
Yeah.
One is your staff, okay, because they are working with you. We are that one. I think that's why you have to differentiate between collecting data on behalf of your staff, means that you want to engage a staff to hire, and then collecting a personal data for services. In other words, your client lah.
Okay.
So kalau you ambil personal sensitive data for the sake of you want to hire a staff, dia ni sihat tak sihat, dia ambil dada tak dada, that one is okay. What is allowed under the labor law.
Okay.
But don't ask lah whether you take that drug or not drug from your client.
Okay, alright.
Ini yang susah lah.
Okay.
Because you have to be sincere lah. This is the thing that I always mention to you lah. Benda-benda macam ni unnecessary data collection lah. Okay.
Right.
Next. Okay, I have to explain this lama sikit because this is the rukun of PDPA lah. Ni kalau ada rukun negara, this is the rukun of PDPA lah. Okay. One is general principles. General principles says that you should not collect my personal data and use my personal data without my consent. So that's why when we do a lot of spot check, is ada juga yang kami dapat. There is no declaration form, declaration statement from your client to say that they already agree that personal data been used for the purpose, for specific purpose. Tak ada, kita tak jumpa. That's why I hope that you all go back, review back your form, and then do some kind of basic declaration for them, for your clients to sign or chop jari ke anything, fingerprints or what, to say that they give their consent for you to use their personal data. Because I have to share a few of court cases. The first thing in the court, the judge will ask you, give me evidence to show that your clients already give he or her consent to you for you to use the personal data. You tak boleh bagi that evidence, habislah. That one is a basic principle in PDPA. That's why there are two things lah. People always collect consent through digital form. Digital form you have to tick agree lah. Kalau you pakai manual form, you have to sign. Okay, that one is the most important things to do when you want to collect your client personal data.
Tuan, kalau borang tu kita buat by default. Is it wrong or what? By default dia dah automatically tick dah. I agree to to this one.
But normally when you tick, dia ada dua lah. Bila you tick, when you manual form, that's why it's quite. I like to advise when you talk about consent, it's better to give explicit consent. Benda yang boleh dibuktikan. Okay, kalau tick, dia boleh kata saya tak tick, yang tick ni kerani. How you want to prove that he tick or not your staff tick? Susah juga jadi.
Yes.
That's why by having his or her signature, 100% the court will say that you already give the consent. Kalau you tak bagi consent, you tak sign.
Is it a big damage kalau katakan found guilty by the court?
If you found guilty, the compound is 300,000.
How much?
300,000.
Wow.
Tak banyak lah 300,000.
Alright, okay. That's a huge amount.
Yeah, it's a basic. And second, please don't collect too much data. That's why sometimes I compound a few of data users because they are collecting data too excessive. Bila saya excessive is, sometimes when we ask them, why you need this kind of data? Can you explain? They cannot explain. Contohlah, for instance, if you are, I want to buy a house from a developer. Some developer asking for my hobby. Apa kena-mengena hobi dengan to buy a house? Kan? Tapi you don't, jangan terperanjat because they need the data because this housing developer have a resort, have a golf course. So they are using all this data to provide their subsidiary for them to contact you, is it?
All right, okay.
This is the thing lah, how
yeah.
personal data, one of the the issue is they are taking your data too excessive. Okay.
But how do you want to reject? Because, for example, pharmacy. At the moment, the pharmacies are very competitive. They have their own loyalty program. So the loyalty, they have all these points lah. And they tahu dah record medicine apa yang buat. And suddenly there are quite a number of supplementary companies emailing you on these things. So these are
okay. That's why. Okay.
Can you complain on that?
That's why back to the basic. When you want to sign to agree, you have to read that TOR. Okay. Orang kita ni malas baca TOR.
Term of reference.
I receive a lot of complaint when I check back. This company already mentioned in the term TOC, term of
TOC, condition.
they say that your personal data will be shared to their subsidiary. Tapi you tak baca, tak faham, you sign aja. So they accept, you already agree. For
But
instance,
if you don't sign, Tuan, if you don't sign, you will never subscribe their. I mean, you never.
yeah, means that in other words, read first lah before you sign.
Okay.
Bila benda dah berlaku, baru you nak menyesal tak guna lah, unless you cancel lah.
Tuan, I have a question from the audience. If you can allow us.
Okay.
From Cham Yin Hua, he said that every now and then there are calls from banks and insurance agents. Unknown numbers doing marketing and promotions. Anyway, for consumers to protect themselves or to trace the source from where our personal data has been tampered with. Tuan.
People always blame hotels, blame banks, telcos. Okay, this is the thing that we do some kind of small research lah. If I ask most of you, how many WhatsApp group do you have? More than 10.
A lot, yeah.
More than 10 lah. I mean, senang lah, more than 10 lah. If more than 10, average is 20 to 25. In other words, 200 and 250 people have your handphone number. Betul tak?
Betul.
Are you sure whether your member group are not sharing your handphone number to other people without your consent, without your knowledge?
That's possible. That's because we don't know.
We don't know because to share your handphone number, I don't need your consent. I kongsi suka-suka aja.
Yeah.
Pula very popular guy. Everybody want to know your phone number.
Yeah.
Kena pula, okay, I give you 10 ringgit lah. You share your Uzadi phone number, I give.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. That's why I'm worried because people always ni benda-benda yang terlepas pandang, is it? Because people are always talking about big companies leaking their personal data. Okay, but on the other hand, the way you manage your personal data also is part of your fault that have a risk for your members to leak it to other party. Kita banyak dapat komen because when kita check balik, telcos are not breaching your data, not sharing your personal data, kan? Because kalau I nak your personal data, I cannot get your pro administrator. Administrator is very strict. The only way is I know Mas Malik is a part of the group, so I get from Mas Malik. I pun dah bagi share dengan data, takkan nak bagi tahu you. I diam je lah. This is the thing lah. This is the thing that.
Yeah. But Tuan, how do you suggest us? We are industry players. We want business. We want sales. We want direct business, direct to the market. We know that we're trying to mine the data, everything. How can we comply all these things? Because these are a lot of regulation, a lot of the things. But we need to reach out to the direct customer, and then we need.
That one is very clear. Okay, I will come back to your disclosure lah.
All right.
When you want to collect personal data, okay, you can do like what Maybank is doing. Okay, they have two boxes for consent purpose. One is I give my consent to Maybank to use my personal data for my original purpose is to open my account, bank account. That one is original purpose. Another one is Maybank come out another box. Whether I agree that Maybank can send me a lot of promotional or any other services to me using SMS or whatsoever. Faham maksud saya?
Yeah. So you have two boxes.
In other words, you give me a very clear picture, okay? Whether, of course, I have to click. I have to tick number one lah because that one is the original purpose. On top of that, you can ask my consent if I want to give. Okay, whether I can share your personal data for other purpose, for instance, like e-marketing, any product. Macam I lah, I am an IJN patient. Give my consent to IJN. On top of that, IJN also have a lot of, we call it supporting services. Sometimes they send me to me through SMS, whether you want to participate in any activities lah, kan? Because I already give my consent, so it's not wrong according to PDPA.
I see.
Question by this Mr. Cham, Madam Cham, okay?
Yeah.
You call when they are calls from banks, insurance agent, unknown members, the problem is it's quite difficult for you to say that if I am an insurance agent, normally I don't want to declare I'm a independent agent lah. They kata I'm from the banks, I'm from the insurance.
Yeah.
They want to sell the name of the company, kan? Tapi sebenarnya they are freelance. Because once you are the staff of the insurance company, you are bound by the insurance company ethics. Simply call me. You cannot simply call your patient during the night, afternoon ke apa lah. Cannot. This is the guy. Camouflage lah. Dia ni menyamar lah. Because they are using bank's name, they are using insurance. And you ask me how they get your number? Macam saya kata tadi lah. Even if I ask 62 of you, do you know the last phone number that you give to someone? You tak tahu.
Tahu, yeah, that's right.
You tak tahu. How many phone number that you share with someone else? Saya banyak share because of part of the job. But you as a customer, for instance, you dealing with customers. You have to promote your products by giving all your name card. Kawan you yang name card ni pula saya dapat, saya pass dekat orang lain pula. Pass. Lama-lama bergibu lah orang tahu nama you.
Yeah.
This is the thing lah. This is the thing that.
Yeah. But Tuan, if let's say PDPA is only for the companies, based on it's only for those companies, not individuals.
Individual. If I mention when you talk about data users, in the act mention individual or companies.
Individual or companies. Alright.
Individu pun juga boleh jadi data user kalau dia collecting data, personal data. For instance, if you are online seller,
okay,
doing jual telekong dalam platform Facebook,
yes,
you are data user because you are collecting your client personal data.
What about NGO? Tuan.
NGO ni because they are not commercial in nature. NGO ni kerja dia bukan cari untung komersial lah. So, don't category them as quote unquote commercial in nature lah.
I see. Alright.
Macam Pulang Sabit Merah contohnya. Dia bukan. Sekarang dia lebih kepada CSR.
Okay.
It depends. Kalau NGO is more on commercial in nature, then they have to comply. I mentioned tadi, you have to focus whether you have a commercial transaction element or not. Kalau ada, you have to comply. Kalau tak ada, macam tadi lah, more on social saja. Not apply.
So to comply, Tuan, to comply all these things, you need to register. That's step number one. Isn't it? You need to register.
No, you don't need to register because I will in our slide adalah they are have to register. Tetapi in our systems, even though you are not registered to us, to the commissioner, as long you collect any personal data from your client for commercial transaction, you have to comply PDPA 100%. Orang jual, orang gunting rambut, dia no need to register under me. But if the gunting rambut asking for my personal data, nama saya, nombor telefon saya, alamat rumah, because I'm a regular customer, sometimes they want to call me, they want to datang rumah, gunting sebagainya, the gunting rambut also have to comply 100%. I hope you understand lah.
Yes. Okay. Clear.
Okay?
Clear.
And then notice and choice. This is also a very important principle. I hope most of the data users have the privacy notice lah. Ini benda yang paling basic lah. Ni Ustaz ni, paling basic. Companies, when we're dealing with PDPA, before I dealing with you, I want to see your privacy notice. Okay? Whether your privacy notice is convincing or not. That's why you have to ensure that to develop a privacy notice is a compulsory, according to the Act.
Tuan, can you pinjam ataupun can you copy paste from others?
You can copy paste. I takut nanti when you copy paste from the high standard of privacy notice yang you cannot do.
Okay, alright, okay.
For instance, you ambil privacy notice from TNB, from banks, they are very high standard.
Alright, okay.
You PC pun tak ada dekat counter. How you want to do it from digital form lah, apa lah.
Yeah.
Mostly pakai manual form. You cannot confuse your customers.
Yeah, but some of us we've been
Very
told.
high standard.
Yeah, but some of us we've been told that we have to engage lawyer. Of course, the lawyer is expensive.
You ask me personally, I discourage you use lawyers.
Okay, alright.
You must. Nanti kita akan nanti one day nanti we teach you lah how to develop.
Alright, okay, thank you.
And workable.
Template.
Comply with all the PDPA lah. You kena make simple aja. Orang faham apa tujuan data ni, what data do you collect, how you keep my data, how you secure my personal data, who do you share my personal data, okay? And then you allow or not allow if I want to sell any e-marketing to you, you allow or not. And then sekali any issues, ada contact person that you can contact. Itu je sebenarnya. A very basic, kan? A very basic. Nanti one day we will teach you lah.
Right. Thank you, Tuan.
And then we're talking about disclosure. Disclosure is very important. Please don't share any of your personal data, your client personal data to someone else, which are not related to your industry. Ini yang paling banyak I compound ni. Because for instance, like you are, the basic one is I always mention is, there is a case where one guy lah, okay, borrow loan, housing loan, car loan from the bank. And then they report to us how the penarik creator know his house. Okay, in other words, they say that he's accused the bank providing his personal data to the syarikat penarik kereta. Okay, so he complained to us. When we check the agreement between him and the bank, the agreement clearly stated that the bank can share his personal data to the syarikat penarik kereta. So bank selamat lah. We cannot compound the bank because you already mentioned in the agreement. You faham maksud saya?
Yes.
If you want to share to other party, you have to clearly put in your disclosure list. Disclosure list, okay? You have to put it clearly in the disclosure list.
So it's quite confusing because disclosure and notice, it's almost the same.
It's almost the same, but disclosure is banyak orang salah guna because disclosure. Because for instance lah, if you because like you mentioned, data is the new commodity. If I want, because by having personal data, I can do a lot of e-marketing. I can blast, I can do SMS blasting. Kan? Kalau tak ada data, you nak blast apa? You nak promote apa? Okay, you tak boleh promote because without data. And then talking about security. Security also is very important. Okay, ini yang paling saya banyak sama security lah because lacking of security, especially those company dealing with third party. Katakanlah now we talking about you banyak guna third party to handle your personal data. Be careful because ensure that there is agreement between you and the third party to ensure that your data processor comply with all the principle in PDPA. Kalau tidak, susah. And then of course, paling basic lah, I do a lot of auditing lah. Especially I want to share you with hotels. One is like hotel. When I go to KK, I pun heran how the bellboy have an access to the system. Faham maksud saya?
System of check-in.
I come to the counter. I give my IC. Okay. Even a bellboy can enter the system and entertain me. Saya pun heran. I tanya dia, how you do that? Because tak ada orang boleh buat, dia buat lah. You cannot do that. Because when you talk about security, you talk about disclosure, you talk about all these things, you must be specific who have the access to the system. Kalau ada 5 orang saja yang ada access. Kalau 3 orang saja. You cannot make it, everybody can access to the system. Nanti susahlah orang boleh curi data.
But Tuan, for example now, during the pandemic, because we need to slim down, we need really to make sure the staff are multi-purpose. So there's a multi-purpose. So, I mean,
it's okay to have a multi-purpose. It's okay. But please put it in writing that this guy have an access. Because kalau bocor, my enforcement team akan datang. The first thing I will ask is, can you give me your access list? Those staff that can access the system. Inilah orang yang ada potential to bocorkan maklumat. Faham? Jadi kalau you don't have any access list, semua orang boleh access, 20 orang boleh access, it's quite difficult for you to do your internal audit. Kalau ada bocor. By having access list to your respective staff, then okay, ada 5 orang saja yang ada access to the system. So you only targeted 5% for your auditing, for your you call it investigation, internal investigation. Jadi kalau you don't have any proper document to mention that I have an access to the system, susah juga.
But most of the investigation is based on the complaints of the clients. Is it?
Yes.
Your department just go on randomly?
We have two types lah. One is most of the complaints lah. Kita tak boleh pergi every data users pengsan lah. Kita Malaysia besar. If for instance I receive a complaint from these hotels, I go to the hotels lah. And then of course lah, when we go to the hotel, we have 5 pages or 6 pages of checklist lah. Okay, one of the most important thing is because most of the big hotels, they are using systems. Itu senang. I bring my expert from Cybersecurity Malaysia to help me to detect all these fake trail, audit trail, all these things. Siapa yang buka all these things lah.
But Tuan, how do you identify the data leak? Because the system it may go to the OTA, they call online travel agent booking. OTA, okay. So then it goes direct to the hotels. So there is some in between. There's a leak. How do you identify? Because for us like travel agent,
there are many ways lah. One is they tak payah use. They only use handphone to tap the information. They only use time drive to cocok dan sedut all the information. Banyak cara. You see? For instance lah, if I know I stay in that hotel, if somebody okay, can you get the information from Mas Malik kat bilik mana dia duduk? Okay, I just use my handphone and click to the screen, and then I viral it. Itu dah data leaking. You don't need to have a very we call sophisticated tools to data reach.
Yeah.
By having the phone number, by having just a simple method, by just snap the screen, cukup.
Yeah, that's what happened, especially to the celebrity. Recently, yeah. we've been informed one celebrity they breached to the SOP pergi Langkawi.
Ya, betul lah.
So
itu aja sebenarnya because
hotel mana? So what is your take on that?
This is the thing. SOP itu I'm not concerned lah because SOP nothing to do with commercial.
Okay, but the
one is more the law of Ministry of Health.
Yeah, the information of the celebrity staying in that hotel, specific room, dengan ada mungkin ada kemungkinan ada
betul.
paparazzi and all this thing. Then
Yes, you are right.
these are the things that is being going to be common.
Because you understand, muka saya ni is a personal data. No, really. That's why we receive also a lot of complaints. People are using, we call it celebrity, for testimony their product without the consent of the artist. Faham tak?
It's also ada appreciate.
Dia guna gambar Niloufar.
Yeah.
Dia pegang ubat satu tahap apalah, shampoo lah, apalah. Without the consent of Niloufar, they are using Niloufar just to make it testimony to say that Niloufar are using my product. Itu pun salah. You are missing the personal data.
That's also including the data protection.
Because gambar Niloufar. So Niloufar complain.
Right. Okay. Well, it's huge. It's a huge thing. Actually, this data protection is a new thing for us, especially for the small players.
Same like hotels. You can be careful because, for instance, like banyak I receive from hotels, a lot of scammers.
Yeah.
You receive, your frontliner receive a call from some, okay, saya daripada polis. Boleh tak you bagi nombor bilik Cik Mas Malik? You tanpa usul periksa just release the information. You supposed not to release the information because you don't know whether this is a true policeman or not. This also part of data breach.
Okay.
Ini benda-benda yang when we talk about data breach, you also have to take care of your staff. Not only about your system, not only about your process. We're talking about the staff. Okay, even though you have very sophisticated systems, a very solid and procedure SOPs, but once your staff don't have any, you call it integrity, habislah.
But Tuan, if you use that information just for us, just for the internal, is it possible? For example, some of the hotels are very customized. They know the class customer suka tinggal kat bilik mana, they suka the kind of foods.
Okay, but you can show 100% that the data cannot be orang tak share dengan pihak lain. Because most of the hotels want to share their clients' personal data to their tour agency, to syarikat-syarikat kecil-kecil yang buat. Masyarakat Sabah tu dia banyak dealing with all these pulau ke pulau operator, yang jual macam-macam lah. Dia punya tour agency, because hotel relate to tour agency, you see. Because they have extra activities for their clients. So they have in your we call it in the form. You must clear lah that the client personal data kena share juga dengan tour agency. At least dia tahulah.
Okay, alright.
Security is very important, and then retention. How long you have to keep my personal data? You already take my data, and then I datang sekali je dekat hotel you. 5 tahun tak datang dah. How you have? Okay, how long you have to keep my data? This is the thing that your ministry ke your regulator have to clarify lah. How long you have to keep the data? It's not me to clarify because I'm the regulator, but the policy must come from the respective ministry lah. Okay, ni benda-benda yang kalau ada cantik lah, because you have a very standard SOP, and then every of your members know how to handle this. Ini dia ingat 7 tahun, dia kata dia 2 tahun, dia ingat dengan dia 1 tahun. People confusing.
So Tuan, how is it this retention in terms of data retention? How is it will benefit to the business? For example, for us, we want the longer the better. But for clients, they are insecure because the longer we keep the data, there was maybe some leak or some exposure. But again, we need to see what's the balance. Who's going to decide? Is it the ministry or is it the
okay? When you talk about retention, they must come up with a policy lah. Macam certain industry, like for instance like EPF, like banking, they have very specific date. Means that after 7 years, you are not active anymore, they delete your personal data. Macam juga your hospitality sectors. Kalau dah 5 tahun saya tak aktif, you want to still keep my personal data? Yeah. Kalau I regular, every year I come to your hotels, then of course you can keep lah. But dah 7 tahun saya tak datang. Contohlah, you see, must you keep my personal data? This is the thing that, of course, your association, your ministry had to come up with policy lah.
Okay.
Because you are not governed by law. Kalau governed by law, it's easy. Macam EPF, macam banking, they are very specific date. Kan? Because in our law, PDPA, we don't mention any period. We based on the policy by the respective sector. Okay? Jadi senang. Jadi semua orang faham. Jadi tak nak besok, dia ni pinjam 3 tahun, dia ni 7 tahun, 4 tahun, it's quite difficult lah.
Okay, alright. Okay.
It's not a matter of who benefit who, it's a matter of I as a customer, I feel uncomfortable kalau you keep my data too long. Of course, you as a data user, you want the data to keep too long because it's a part of your, we call it a tool, it's a part of your strategy for your promotion. You can blast SMS, all these things. Okay, you have to look at both area lah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, kepada siapa yang ingin bertanya, sila type ataupun anda boleh unmute dan tanya pada ni jika ada sesiapa soalan ya. Jadi masa kita agak terhad, jadi kita
it's okay lah, nanti 4 tak apa.
Mendengar dulu dan kita boleh tengok lihat.
Bila 4:30 pun it's okay lah. I don't have any issues. Okay, we talk about data integrity, of course, make sure your data is up to date lah. And then that's why we don't keep it too long. Ini isu macam TNB data lah. Macam TNB data, that's why it's quite difficult for TNB because even bapak kita yang meninggal 20 years dulu pun, the bill still nama bapak kita. This is the thing lah. Okay, because we always advise, okay, TNB, please update. Because we, in the sector, we don't care whether the data is, the personal data is up to date or not, the services still ongoing. But based on PDPA tak boleh lah. The data must be accurate, up to date and variable. This is the thing that is a part of a duty of the data user lah. And of course access lah. You must have the right, give right access to the personal data from your customers. Kalau customer datang nak tengok data dia, you have to give lah. This is the thing that been secured by the law lah. Any issues that pertaining to the principles? Then you want to ask me?
Anybody else? Kalau siapa nak tanya, silakan tanya sekarang. In terms of integrity, retention ataupun
I just give you a review je lah, example, because this is the first time that you listen to our PDPA lecture. Maybe after this we can go deeper lah.
Yeah.
Okay, next. In our PDPA, we also have standards. Ini standard yang paling minimum yang we develop. Okay, we have 3 standards: security standard, retention standard, and data integrity standard. You can access from our website. You can download, it's free. Okay, semua free. Okay, next. Okay, in our security standards, because kita kena faham like I mentioned to you just now, data users, they have different level of security standards. For instance, like KPJ, their standards is very high. They are ISMS 27001 compliance, ISO. Maybank, high standards. Telcos, very high standards. Kalau you nak ambil satu Makcik Munah homestay, how you want to impose standard to Makcik Munah homestay? It's quite difficult. It's quite difficult. But that's why we come up with a minimum standard. Whether you do it electronically or non-electronically. Ini benda yang paling simple, paling basic yang kena ikut. Kan? Because this is one of the very important standards in PDPA. Okay, you boleh baca lah dalam ni very clear cut. Okay, that's why we call it minimum standard. We are not talking about high standards. Okay, we know that because we have around 1 million SMEs, and most SMEs they are don't have enough fund to enhance their security standards in their organization. Okay, next. Sama juga dengan retention standard, okay? How long you have to keep. Macam income tax, they have 7 years. They clear the Income Tax Act. That's why if you don't have any law, it's better to come up with a policy. So everybody knows they have to keep their client personal data for certain period. Okay, next. And then we're talking about integrity standards. Make sure lah, the standards is up to date lah. Kadang-kadang jangan segan lah. After 7 years, you still keep my old data. My address is old address. All these things lah. Okay, this is standard. This you can access from our website lah. Okay, very simple. Kita semua ada dah. English and Malay version lah. Okay, next. Ini 13 sectors yang wajib berdaftar di bawah PDPA lah. All the 13 sectors. Kalau you tengok from tourism and hospitalities, those travel agent or hotels under the Tourism Industry Act 1992, they must register under commissioner. Yang lain tak payah. Okay, means that those hotels and tourist travel agent that registered under Tourism Industry Act 1992. Those who have this license must also get a license from Commissioner PDPA. I hope you faham
Kalau tu kan, kalau macam homestay, macam some little bit on cari macam Airbnb tu tak perlulah.
Tak perlu, tapi dia kena patuh.
Kena patuh, ya, that's right.
Dia tak perlu daftar, but dia wajib patuh.
Adakah dia punya denda tu sama?
Sama.
Yang regulated, siapa yang tak regulate sama ke?
Tak ada beza. Because one good thing about when you register and you get a fee, we give you banyak privilege. For instance, you can develop your own code of practice satu. When we have seminars, we have conference, kita panggil you for free. Kan? For instance, like if you hotels kan, you pay for 100. You have many hotels in Malaysia. I buat dekat Johor, you datang. I buat kat Selangor, you datang. Kadang-kadang tak berbaloi juga, it's cost. But because of our commitment, you can attend all the conference. Because we compensate from, you collect fee from all the data users. Okay, ini just for your information lah. We have 13 sectors. Yang terbaru is kedai pajak. Pawn broker. Lagi teruk pawn broker. They don't have any system at all. Even nak kira duit pun pakai sampua. How they are talking about PDPA to them? But of course we have to educate them lah. Because they are using also a form to collect personal data. When I pawn my cincin ke, all my rings ke, they have to collect all the personal data. So we teach them, make sure even though you collect, you are using manually, you have to keep it in the we call it in the case, kunci, all these things. Okay, it's not a matter whether you do digital or manual. Whether you do manual, this is the way. When you do it digitally, this is the way. Because it's quite difficult to impose high standard lah for all the sectors lah. Macam money lender. Money lender is adik-beradik Along lah. They are very simple. They just a one table or two table. But they are licensed under KPKT lah. Okay. Okay, next. This is the right of data subject lah. Okay. I mentioned about Madam Cham. This is the right. Right to prevent processing from direct marketing. If somebody sending you any marketing product, you have a right to prevent it by what we call it, reply and say that I don't want to receive anymore your product and they have around 90 days to stop. 90 days or 21 days, I'm not sure. They have 21 days or 90 days, I'm not sure, to stop from processing to you. Kalau dia tak buat, you can report to us, we take action to the direct marketers lah. But the issue is, we don't know who are sending you this product, because we cannot access to their numbers. You give you the numbers from the direct marketing, but when we check to MCMC, these numbers is not exist. We cannot get the proper address. We cannot get the proper owner of that companies. Ini masalah dia. It's quite difficult because they berani buat because they say that the regulator cannot trace them. In other words, they are using false or incorrect information from their numbers lah. Ini masalah kami lah as a regulator. It's quite difficult to get the real information from them. And then right to prevent processing, right to cause distress. Also you have to, mula-mula you dah bagi. Sama juga dengan withdraw consent. Suddenly you found out that by giving consent you get more problem. So you can right to withdraw your consent. Okay, right to make a correction and right to access. This is the right of the data subject lah, of the rakyat in PDPA. Okay, next. Okay, this is something lah. Ini just is a matter of just ask yourself lah. Okay, just ask yourself. You should ask about personal data lah. Ini saya serah pada your industry lah. Okay, why you need the data? Okay. Are you looking for purpose of processing? This is the thing that you must ask yourself lah. If you can process your business you need only 5 data, why must you need 15 data? Kalau you boleh buat kerja only by having my name, okay, my IC and my phone number, cukup lah. Why must you take another sampai 10, 15? This is the thing that you have to think. Because the more data you collect, the more risk you are. Because somebody akan curi data tu, data breach will happen, all these things lah. Okay, this is just to guide you lah. Okay, before you want to process data, please ask yourself. Okay, next. And then we're talking about governance lah. Okay. Source of data, data subject online, and then storage. Okay, we're talking about usage and then retention. First, you identify, and then you come up with protect. And then, of course, you control how you use all the personal data. Last kali, you plan when you want to delete, when you want to destruct, when in terms of retention and so forth. Identify, protect, control, and plan. Okay, next. Okay, ini common security breaches lah. Improper disposal of data. Okay, a few of data user we already compound lah. Contohnya, you are collecting a copy of IC, tapi you tak destroy it properly. You just koyak aja satu kali, and then you throw it in the basket. Okay. We throw it in the basket. So my enforcement officer will collect all the information in the basket. That's why you must understand. When my enforcement agency come to your premises, the first thing is they will go to the dustbin and collect all the information from the dustbin. Because dustbin is the favorite place for your staff to throw all the personal data information.
But as a customer, for example, before kita check in, they require a security deposit for the hotels. Normally kita kasih credit card for them to swipe and everything. So bila checking out, we pay by cash ataupun the company pay to us. That credit card dia punya slip ataupun duit tu dia koyak dia let's say. That's against the law.
You can koyak. That's why koyak kekal means koyak I cannot identify anymore. But if you koyak just only 2 pieces, I cantum balik, I can get the information. That's why when you koyak, you must koyak smartly lah. Koyak 1000 orang kata.
Or they should give back to us the slips.
If you have shredding machine, use shredding machine.
Yeah.
Kan? That's why I always ask hotels, what do you do with my copy of IC? Dia pun tak boleh jawab. Kan? Because of course lah, you need IC. We don't question your SOP lah. Our concern is how safe you can keep my a copy of IC. Itu mak isunya. Because you bayangkan satu hari berpuluh-puluh orang kopi, satu tahun berapa ribu salinan IC yang simpan. Where do you put? Where you put your IC? Ini yang masalah ni. Letak sana. If somebody else bagi copy balik, snap balik through handphone. Dah tak tahu pasal bocor. This is the thing that your society, your industry must think lah. Because the awareness of PDPA ni dah semakin tinggi dengan rakyat Malaysia ni. The people will ask, why you need my IC? Why you need my copy of my security, my credit card? This is the thing. It's nice to collect, but it's a burden to handle. It's a burden to do the retention. It's a burden to handle. Kalau 1, 2, okay, we're talking about thousands you collect per year. Ini benda-benda yang you kena fikirlah. Unsecured data transfer, benda-benda yang you transfer data. Okay? And then overshare via social media. Benda-benda yang you share. You always use social media to promote your product, nice. But don't disclose any personal information in the social media. Nanti your client marah. I didn't give my consent to promote your hotels, but you pandai-pandai promote guna nama saya. Okay, and then of course accidental disclosure, benda yang secara tak sengaja bocor. This is the thing that you must take note lah. Okay, next. Okay, I only more 5 minutes lah. Okay, complaints lah. Ni complaints lah, benda-benda yang hospitality yang kita terima lah. Sharing your applicant personal data to other company. Ni kadang-kadang you suka share dengan orang lain. Okay, that one also kena hati-hati lah. And then using the people's personal data, booking information while check in the hotels. Ini pun very serious issue. Ini benda yang it's a true story tau. When we collect from all the other one. Personal data be recorded, keep by any personal company. This is the thing that I hope all of you please take care of this lah. All the issues. Okay, next. Okay, ini penalti lah. Okay. Section 5, Section 16, semua 6 digit lah. Tak ada yang 5 digit. Paling murah pun 50,000 je. And then, okay. Because I mentioned to you lah, when you talk about personal data is a creation of wealth kalau you pandai guna. Ini, okay, GDPR lagi pula. 4 million or 25 million or 4% of their gross income. Lagi besar. Kita tapi you must understand when you talk about this fine, one principal 150,000, you know. Kalau 7 principals times 7. Kata ditakdirkan you tak comply 4 principles. So the denda is 600,000. So okay lah, ini will motivate you lah, all these numbers, 150, 250, 250. Okay, next. Sama lah dengan ni, just to give you some highlights lah, when talking about compound issues, related issues lah. Okay, next. And transfer of personal data to place outside Malaysia, ini benda-benda yang you also have to take note lah, okay? Okay, next. Sama lah, okay, next. Okay, I have a few minutes. Maybe kalau ada apa-apa soalan, bolehlah nak tanya.
Alright, itu dia. Banyak information. In fact, I think 90% of the information yang saya sendiri tak tahu. Saya sendiri baru belajar hari ni dengan rasa rendah diri lah. Saya rasa banyaklah yang perlu yang saya belajar lagi mengenai PDPA.
Okay,
Yang
boleh.
penting
Sama-sama belajar lah. One question about Anthony related to GDPR.
GDPR dia.
GDPR, you might understand this one among EU GDPR already be implemented in 2018, May 2018. It's applicable in Malaysia. According to their act is extraterritorial, you know. Maknanya kalau rakyat dia yang ada dekat Malaysia yang gunakan servis kat Malaysia, you have to comply. Tapi how they can do it is questionable lah. How can they want to impose their act in Malaysia territory? But their act is extraterritorial, means that if they are citizens of EU come to Malaysia, you have to be extra careful.
So in terms of GDPR, katakan for example, it is talking about accessibility ataupun OQ. If let's say katakan dia against lah, dia apa yang dia tak comply lah. I mean our counterparts in overseas, for example counterparts in UK yang handle these customers, dan kita ni menerima. So yang our counterparts tu akan menerima padah lah, because dia
akan terima because you have a subsidiary there.
Yeah. So
same like MAS dengan Malaysia Airlines. Kalau dia berlaku dekat negara yang dia ada pejabat,
sama the law. They are taking serious in terms of this GDPR.
Because they know that they are very serious about they are more concerned about privacy lah.
Concern about privacy. Even sekarang ni, even website, everything all must be comply to GDPR.
They must call GDPR.
So,
actually GDPR pun tak adalah very strict sangat. Because Malaysia ni dia satu perangai kita ni, because we are not concerned on privacy lah. We are not individualistic lah. Because everything want to share. Anak dapat lepas A, you share all the slip in the Facebook. Semua benda you nak share. Because culture kita macam tu. That's why we want to change the culture to say that you can share. Tapi kalau you share masakan ke, you share fashion pun jangan share. But don't share personal data lah.
Tuan, daripada soalan daripada Puan Zunaina ni daripada Angkasa ni artinya korporasi zaman COVID ni tadi kita dah bincang. Zaman COVID ni orang yang nak masuk premis ni kena tulis nama, handphone number. Dulu masa sebelum guna. So berlambat-lambatlah handphone di access nombor handphone ni. So jika berlaku kebocoran data, siapa yang perlu dipertanggungjawab? Adakah kedai ataupun sejahtera?
Okey, kalau dia isu dia begini, kita pun ada terima komplain banyak. Mula-mula dululah last year. The issue is, saya punya masalah adalah you complain to me that this company salah guna data you because Bangla ni ambil nombor telefon you, call you. Adik manis dia kata. The issue is bila kita pergi dekat tempat tu, how you want to ensure the Bangla snap your phone number and call you? Bukti susah.
Tapi tak ada, boleh
evidence.
Salahkannya kedai tu salah kan? Bukannya
I tak boleh salahkan kedai tu, because that's why we talk to the kedai, make sure those who jaga that book don't bring any handphone.
Oh, okay.
So dia tengok budak cantik aja, nanti dia bubuh nama dia snap. Because it's quite difficult. Because dululah, sekarang ni of course lah kita tak galakkan lagi pakai buku, tapi still not Malaysian, every Malaysian have a handphone. Untuk tu tak ada, nyonya-nyonya tu tak ada. They still using tulis. Dulu yes, but not now lah. Because I think 90% of Malaysia now, because of Mas Sejahtera kan, now vaksin pun guna Mas Sejahtera, because they have no choice. They must use handphone for vaccination.
Tapi tuan, kalau cerita pasal koperasi ni, for example Angkasa sekarang Angkasa, is it subject to
Angkasa? You kena faham, Angkasa diwujudkan untuk komersial. Saya pinjam loan gunakan Angkasa. Angkasa boleh deal dengan bank rakyat. Angkasa boleh potong gaji saya. Dia are commercial nature sebenarnya. Walaupun koperasi. Ah.
So it's
Dia
to the PDPA punya.
angkasa pun datang, officer dia datang jumpa saya. Dia nak develop a system where you can borrow loan through their system. Whether you NGO or non-NGO, as long you dealing with commercial transaction in nature, you can ikut.
Alright, okay.
Unless you ni karat kematian,
Alright.
then okay lah. Dia tak ada berniaga.
Okay.
Itu dia lain lah.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are running out of time. But again, if you have any questions, maybe we can go ahead and unmute your mic. And,
Ni ada
able
satu
to
soalan
ask,
ni. Ni soalan ni. NGO daripada, I don't know who is sending. NGO and PO collect personal information when they raise or newsletter. Okay, when you collecting personal data to get some money, when you talk money, it's only commercial. Okay, of course you need to comply. Because you are collecting personal data just to come up with a newsletter. My concern is it is more on ad hoc requirements. Benda yang sekali-sekala. They are not permanent in nature. Lagi because how long? Because bila you tak keluar lagi newsletter, what do you do with that information, personal data? So we have to be careful. Kalau you put,
kalau kata example NGO, they collect, for example, now NGO is the membership is a company, for example company. Because at the moment now it's personal, individual. Those companies' data is actually also subject to the PDP.
Yeah, that's why you must concern. Not only your client must comply to PDPA, your staff also must comply to PDPA. You cannot disclose your staff personal data to other party yang tak ada kaitan dengan you. This is the because as long as you are private sector, because your staff also bound to PDPA, because they get payment, they get paycheck. So
yes, okay.
Jadi nanti kalau in case kalau next round we will start with a specific module lah, especially requirements, basic requirement. Zarina, nanti you tolong nanti I akan minta my medical license, but saya bagilah. If not then because I pun bagus juga jumpa you all ni, because at least I can reach my concern to respective sector lah.
Terima kasih.
InsyaAllah nanti kalau ada kelapangan nanti Mazlina akan hubungi pihak MPC lah dengan your side.
Yes, saya setuju sangat sebab ini area sangat besar. Dan
ini besar, pasal within 1.5 hours memang tak boleh nak cover semua.
Dan bukan hanya pada syarikat-syarikat besar yang kemungkinan besar mereka telah tahu, tetapi juga melibatkan syarikat-syarikat kecil dan juga enterprise dan tadi tuan kata
even
online.
Saya pun sekarang ni tengah mengajar Makcik Kia yang jual kuih baulu.
Itulah.
Masa Makcik Kia aku jual kuih baulu pun dia dah pakai buku 555.
RM5 hutang RM5 tu ya.
Dia simpan dalam buku 555 tu kan, dia tabur mana-mana kan. Satu hal lagi. Okey,
jadi bagi pihak kalau tidak apa kita ingin apalah bagi pihak Nexus saya ingin mengucapkan jutaan terima kasih pada tetamu khas kita daripada Jabatan Perlindungan Data Peribadi itu tak lain tak bukan Ketua Pengarah sendiri datang turun padang Tuan Mazmalik Muhammad. Jadi kami sangat berbesar hatilah dan ketahui dan juga ramai antara kita ni saya dapat komen daripada handphone saya ni, dia kata wow kita telah buat salah. Ramai yang telah buat salah. Jadi kita faham, kita sedar ni kita pulang ke pangkal jalan.
Dia satu je lah, dia just my advice lah. Kalau you ada conflict between your patient, your customers dengan you, jangan sampai dia complain to us lah. Settle yourself. Kalau dah sampai kepada saya tak boleh nego lagi dah.
Yes.
I have to take action.
Yes, of course.
Jadi kalau ada masalah, in case kalau dia tak puas hati, you handle. In case nak avoid from your customer complain to the commissioner lah, me lah, as a commissioner. Jadi sampaikan tangan saya dalam sistem apa semua, I cannot do anything. Because by law, complaint had to be handle lah.
Okey, itu dia pesanan.
Itulah, kalau ada isu-isu berbangkit, you settle lah cara baik.
Itu dia pesanan penting tu daripada Tuan Mas Malik
Sebab saya nampak di sini kalau kita nak buat enforcement, nak buat forensik PDPA, sure you orang kena punya.
Yes.
Potensi kena tu ada lah.
Yes.
Sebab you orang ni tak biasa lagi dengan PDPA punya senario.
Betul. Alright. Okey, saya sangat berbesar hatilah dengan dapat mendengar semua penerangan, dan saya rasakan rakan-rakan kita di industri pelancongan pun dapat tahu apa itu PDPA, apa itu data, dan bagaimana nak melindungi data pelanggan. Jadi saya ingin sekali lagi mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Tuan
sama-sama.
Mas Malik Muhammad. Saya berharaplah jangan kita ini paling terakhir, dan mungkin
InsyaAllah
dapat engage dengan jabatan sesiapalah pegawai ke apa, kita kena dapatkan some advice, minta advice ataupun pandangan sebelum kita dikena lah. Jadi kita kena buat sebelum kita kena bukan,
it's not a matter of kena, it's a matter of you have to come up with what you doing is you can create trust to your customers lah, itu je.
This is it. There's a keyword.
You to get the trust. Bila orang percaya data dia dijaga dengan baik, dia dah ada satu trust kat situ.
Itu dia.
Trust tu you can retain your customers.
Alright, betul. Okey, dan saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih dan juga
kepada sama-sama jadi
rakan-rakan kita semua daripada all the way, ada yang daripada Langkawi, ada daripada Sabah pun ada nampak sini, ada daripada Johor, ada Kelantan pun ada sini, dan thank you very much Min Leong, Tuan Zainab, Tuan Nazri, mengucapkan terima kasih kepada sudi hadir pada sesi ini. Jadi saya jangan lupalah kita berbagai-bagai program daripada TPN untuk meningkatkan.
From time to time, if you want to more, you specific any issues, you write to talk to Mas Lina, MPC Karina, then we can arrange webinar macam ni lah.
Alright, okay. With that, I would like to pass back to Nazar, Puan Nazar.
Terima kasih Cik Uzaidi, and thank you very much Encik Mas Malik dan
sama.
PDP di atas perkongsian yang sangat very beneficial lah to all of us. Saya pun dapat belajar banyak sangat benda baru hari ini. Tapi sebelum kita end the session, kita ambil gambar beramai-ramai. Kalau boleh semua switch on camera, kita ambil group foto secara online. Walaupun kita tak boleh berjumpa secara fizikal kan.
Boleh, okay.
Alright, ada lagi boleh buka kamera. Ada 2 page dekat sini. Nanti saya senyum je until saya start kedua-dua page ya. Okay, first page. Ada lagi boleh buka kamera.
Adam ada tanya apa Adam?
Oh, Cik Adam pun ada
Dia pasal itu pasal PDA. Ada apa-apa?
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, sekejap ya. Kita pergi ke second page. Alright. 1, 2, 3. Dan saya ada letakkan link kepada feedback form di chat box tu. Jadi mohon semua untuk mengisi feedback form because your feedback is very much important. Especially kita nak minta juga lah suggestion on what are the topics or issues yang kita nak kupas selepas ni. So kita dapat menjalankan program-program yang lebih bermanfaat lah untuk semua. Terima kasih.
Yang slide tadi tu you orang boleh share lah.
Boleh, nanti saya akan emailkan kepada attendees. Terima kasih Cik Mas Malik dan Cik Uzaidi.
Sama-sama.
Terima kasih kepada semua yang hadir.
InsyaAllah jumpa lagi.